Okay, with Steve Mikals, Speak Monkey Speak, the winning screenplay at our festival. It is, well, how would you call it? A dystopian, black comedy. What kind of comedy would you describe this?
Yeah, I started it thinking it was just a comedy, but yeah, I guess depending on the week's events, it gets more dystopian.
So we did the Zoom reading of your screenplay with the actors. It's been about a week. Have you watched it again since the reading?
I have. Um, and it's interesting. The part I watched the most is the feedback after.
Okay.
Uh, there was a half hour of actor feedback, and I really, really appreciated that. It was like writing again with the team. I
Yeah.
There were some just incredibly quick insights into what I was doing. Um, I saw that they understood it immediately, which was one of the purposes that I had in doing the table read to see what it sounds like and see if the audience gets it,
Yeah.
and they
It's
definitely
interesting
did.
because the actors, it's like we all had like a 2.5 hour investment of your script. So that was on our mind for 2 hours, your screenplay, you read it beforehand. So there's a lot of investment into your work. And then of course, it's finished, there's a lot, everybody's got a lot to say because they became a part of your script as well, right? So there's an emotional kind of investment in what you did.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by the end. I looked at the time. I was like, wow, I had these people for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
That was my private team. It was a great experience. And you're right. They not only read it beforehand, experienced it live, and then we all kind of processed it together. And that's really valuable. I really recommend it for anyone else thinking about a full table read.
so I have to ask, over your left shoulder there's a thing that says Feeding America. What is that about?
Oh, oh, that's probably one of the best nonprofits you could donate to. It's like a 99.9% effective food bank, national chain of food banks.
That's cool.
Um, yeah. It's a really great group.
So tell me about this screenplay. We kind of talked about it a little bit during the Zoom reading where you kind of had this, you ran a bookstore, correct? And that's sort of
Right.
the idea kind of spawned from this for the screenplay.
Sure. That was, it's one of those go with what you know. Um, but do I know anything about chimpanzees? No. And I mentioned I deliberately avoided watching any of the Planet of the Apes. I didn't want any kind of impact from what they were doing. Um, and I'd been reading a lot of Jorge Borges, the Argentine writer, who's also was a Sufi. So his short stories were just incredibly compact, and they're like calculated to have an impact on your brain. And one of them involved this fictional character Menard who um, writes a couple lines from Don Quixote.
Mhm.
200 years later, he's French, but he writes it in Spanish. And Borges said, let's look at them side by side and which is better. And it's like, wait a second, what if a chimpanzee did the same thing? What would it mean? So that was kind of my jumping off point. That old probability question: how long would it take 100 monkeys to type Shakespeare? And my answer is two chimpanzees, a very short time, and they'll get it done.
Yeah, they'll get it done. But is it just one line of Shakespeare, or is it like a whole book?
No, it's the probability thing is how long would it they accidentally take to write something longer. But
Yeah,
in the screenplay, it's just two lines from Hamlet, to be or not to be. That is the question.
yeah.
And that's for a chimpanzee, that's a full day's work there.
Well, I think it's for a lot of humans, it's a full day's work, right? So
You're right about that.
so okay, so tell me about the tone, because we laughed about it after the Zoom reading where like one of the actors was scheduled to be in the reading, and he calls me up and goes, I don't get it. I don't get this script at all. And then he was trying to get me to convince him to like get the script, and I was like, I that's 20 minutes of my life. I don't think I'm gonna win this battle. So we'll find another actor.
I love that story. I love that story. You know, comedy is one of those things that it either clicks for you or it doesn't. And you know, that sounds cliche, but it's true. I mean, I've got a lot of different styles in there. There's some slapstick, you know, mobsters peeing the alphabet on the, you know, on the ground.
Yeah.
Some sophisticated jokes about James Joyce. So yeah, I kind of threw everything in there, and if you're not ready for it, maybe on his second read he'll get it. You know,
Yeah.
but you know, I remember I was a huge fan of Woody Allen back in high school and college, and his first serious movie followed like Annie Hall and Manhattan, and I was ready for comedy, and it just I was like, it was a horrible experience, you know. So it
Yeah.
kind of depends what you're geared up for, you know, what you're ready to see, and if you're not ready, you may try it again, you know.
Yeah, I guess if it, yeah, so he tried to make a serious movie, and you were wanted the Woody Allen-ish kind of comedy, right? The
Right, right, right,
neurotic kind of, yeah.
right.
Funny.
You know, when I had sort of had Woody Allen in mind. He has that Greek chorus from Mighty Aphrodite
Yeah.
that are like filming at the Acropolis or a version of it. Um, and I liked, you know, how uh, ragged they are, and they're kind of more like vaudeville comedians, you know, the way they just kind of, you know, veer off. And so the two old guys that I have were, you know, sort of Greek chorus, sort of vaudeville.
Yeah.
Um, but they were that was a really significant theme in the screenplay for me, is the question of where inspiration comes from. And they are clearly, you know, divine agents. You know, you figure that out by the end. And oops, we just gave it away.
Yeah.
Uh, but you know, I remember reading an interview with Doris Lessing where she talked about a conversation with a book publisher who got manuscripts from all over the world constantly. And the publisher said she was shocked at how often people who had no contact with each other were mining the same ideas.
Yeah.
And the question is, you know, where, you know, we can say, you know, it's in the air, or it's, I don't know, maybe we're being salted from somewhere else, you know. Uh, neither one would surprise me, but you know, I think a lot of writers, you know, at any level have had the experience, you know, where's this stuff coming from?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I didn't just sit down and go, you know, bam, connect the dots, you know, A to B to C. You know, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, what is that? You better write it down. Um, so I think that's a um, big theme in the screenplay, even
Yeah.
though it's, you know, chimpanzees and it's silly, you know, a lot of crazy stuff. It's also asking the question, you know, what direction is humanity going, and you know, are we, you know, getting some guidance along the way?
So what's your theory of, I have my theories. What's your theory about that? Where you
I
just
should say you tell me first, but
Well, I think that I don't think there's any I don't think there's any divine, big, someone in the sky controlling things. I think that I always believe that if I have an idea, 100 people around the world have the same idea that I do. And it's about me, it's about the execution of that idea. That's the most important thing. But I think that we're all kind of consuming the same things, right? We're all kind of like, I could be here in Toronto and someone could be in Germany, but we can still be watching the same shows, consuming the same.
Right.
So through all those kind of influences, we can have the same personality as our wife, the same dysfunctional friend, whatever it is, right? And all those kind of things mixed up in the blender kind of comes up, ideas come through those influences, right? So obviously, and also the who you are as a person. So if there's 6 billion, 7 billion people in the world, mathematically, it's like the chimpanzee writing a
Uh,
sentence.
there
Mathematically,
we are.
someone's going to come up with the same ideas around the world, right? That's my theory.
Right, right. That, I mean, you're right. That goes right back to, you put 100 monkeys on typewriters,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
somebody's gonna bang it out. I tend to go more. Um, I agree completely with that, but I'd step back even more, like on a cosmic level. It's like, are we alone in the universe? Is this it? I don't know if this is it. It's pretty depressing some days. So I tend to think that when those um, photos come back from space, from Hubble and the telescopes in space, it's like, nah, we're not the center of anything.
No.
There's more out there, and whatever. I always think whatever explanation we can provide for, you know, reality or the purpose or meaning of life, whatever we can think of, it's got to be wrong. If we think of it, it's wrong because
Yeah.
I mean, we got problems planning our day. So how we're going to plan the universe, I don't think so.
Well, no, but humans try to come up with, that's what religion is, right? That they try to
Exactly.
come up with an answer to this. They want to know, right? And they kind of come up like, but listen, it took how long has the Earth been around for? Billions of years. We've been around for 200,000 years. We're a blip in this world, and we evolved through randomness and like flukeness, right? So like it's all a big fluke. And that's my theory, at least, right?
Well,
So, or it takes a long time to evolve. It takes billions of years to form into humans. And I'm not like, but also at the same time, birds have been around for billions of years. My theory is that birds are laughing at us because they think that we're so important. Yeah.
well, I touched on that at the end in the chimpanzees Nobel Prize speech.
Yeah.
He's accepting the prize for literature, and it's like, I'm sure whales have some thoughts on this, and
Yeah.
dolphins, and suddenly we've discovered that an octopus is a pretty sophisticated being. So
Yeah.
um, there's probably more modes of consciousness out there you know than we ever suspected, and
Sure.
I think sometimes the best way to address those serious ideas is just through comedy, because it's like
Mhm.
too much to get a handle on all at once. And yesterday's bright idea, is tomorrow's in the trash bin.
Yeah.
Um, but comedy, I think the thing that's so attractive about comedy is that it says reality the way we think it is, it just in that way, and we're going to show you by poking holes in it. That doesn't mean that there isn't a bigger reality. It just means that what's being shoved down your throat or being told this is the way the world is. I don't think so. um
Oh, yeah.
and laughing at it is probably one of the best ways to
Of
you know
course.
keep your mind fresh.
And also, like there's like the themes are in the background, like your themes are in the background, but you still get some insight about life, right? Where like through comedy, you see it in the political world, right? Where like Jon Stewart can just make fun of things, but then there's richness in what he's saying, but it's through comedy, right? So it's yeah, I think that's the yeah, what you're saying is so true. It's like we can laugh because it is all randomness. It is silly. You can laugh at basically about anything, right? So, but it's true, and basically that's what you're that's why the one actor didn't get it because it's so zany, it's so crazy. No, but it's so zany, it's
Yeah,
so
right.
crazy. You're not supposed to
Yeah,
take it so literally, right?
right.
And it's just that you like that's what people do. They try to take it literally, and but then it's thematically driven. Your script's thematically driven. It's like there's points to make through the craziness, right? So at
Yeah,
least that's my
and
take.
yeah, and I really appreciated that the actors got, I was making an indirect connection, between racial politics and what kind of politics, any species trying to, you know, jump up into the human sphere would face. And the actors immediately got that and appreciated that I gave a, kind of a historical base to it. And then it, devolves from that at the Nobel um, event to, the only thing missing is pies in the face. So,
Yeah. And I think I brought it up during the Q&A with the actors is that, but there's an underlying love story going on
right,
with the marriage, right? Like it's
right.
yeah. These two
Yeah,
people, even though they're flawed, especially the guy, like they love each other.
right. And one of the ways that their marriage is redeemed is they have a child and name her after a blow up sex doll that and it was the love connection back. Um, and that was just a recent addition. I was like shocked at how, that was just sitting out there, and I didn't get it till recently. And it's like I'm sure if you sat around with a panel of 8 actors for 3 hours at a time, they'd show you the holes and they'd make the connections for you. So
Yeah.
I keep coming back. That was as valuable as hearing it out loud.
So what else? So basically, what else are you working on something new now, or what are you up to right now?
The I'm gonna just I've just finished like the 100th read through and edit and revision. Trying to I took like 2 pages out of it. The a couple of the actors said, thought it bogged down in a couple parts, and if there's any way, I mean, comedy going slow is just not comedy.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was I just tried to take a knife to whatever looked like bare bones. Um, so I'm in a film festival in Atlanta at the end of August, a comedy film festival, and I'm in the finals for that. Um, and then that circuit also has one coming up in Portland and Austin. Um, so I'm gonna, kind of take the feedback from those, see what more I can do with this. I told you that that Zoom meeting I had with one of your professional readers was he kind of helped me put it in context. It's like, yeah, this could be an expensive film if a studio took it on, but don't try and chop it down to make it a budget movie. Just polish it as best you can. So I think I'm still in the polishing stages. Um, where I go from there, I've got some other possibilities, but I'll see where I go after the festivals are over.
Gotcha. And then you kind of refine it, but then take what you need and dispose what doesn't feel right, and kind of like go back to the rewriting stage and kind of like finesse it.
Right, right. And it's always shocking to find out. You go, I could never get rid of that character, or not that joke. That's one of my favorite jokes. And you go, well, I guess the scene moves along pretty good without that character, or without
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's a worthwhile insight always.
100 yeah, because basically you said that the earliest version in the blog interview that it was 225 pages.
It was originally it was a novel that I
Yeah. Oh,
wrote,
gotcha. Yeah.
and you just run on any creative idea you get. You can indulge yourself.
And then it's
But
all about editing, right? It's like
yeah,
scale down. Yeah. Yeah. Finesse.
I mean, there was a Borges story. It's called The Library of Babel, in which he posits the whole universe is nothing but walls of books. And they're all like 300 pages or so, and they contain every possible combination of letters. So it's almost infinite, but and people spend their whole lives in story trying to find their, it's in one of the books, the whole story of their life, but they end up, there's so much white noise that of course nobody finds anything. And so I jumped from that idea to what if one of those characters somehow came through a portal into our world and walked into a bookstore where
Mhm.
every book, has is readable and is meaningful. That would just blow their minds. But I said you can only fit so much into a screenplay, so that half went out. Maybe I should come back to that with as a sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good idea. So yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on everything so far. It was great collaborating with you, and let's talk again to let us know when you got finish your festival run with it, and then congratulations on everything too. So obviously, it's getting attention for a reason, and then when it's all polished up and you're ready to go.
All right, Matt. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and I'll be in touch. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Thanks so much.